Hey everyone, and welcome to our explainer. Today we're heading back, way back, to the misty, legendary past of ancient Assam. We're talking about a land that was ruled by gods, demons, and some truly epic heroes. I mean, think about it. What happens when the stories we tell about our origins become so powerful that they actually start to shape the world around us? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. So, let me set the scene for you. Our story unfolds in Pragjyotisha, a name that just drips with myth and legend. This was the ancient kingdom of Assam, a place where, honestly, the line between the divine and the mortal was pretty much non-existent. Okay, let's start at the very beginning of this mythical dawn. Before all the great kings and their legendary dynasties, before the epic poems were even written down, who was actually living in this land? Well, the earliest folks here were a really diverse mix. You had Austroasiatic groups, various Tibeto-Burman peoples, and a group often just called the Karatas. These were the foundational cultures, the ones on which all these incredible legends would eventually be built. And it's from these very people that the first recorded rulers of Pragjyotisha emerged, the mysterious and pretty powerful Danava dynasty. You see, the Danavas basically came from these first peoples and established the very first sort of political entity in the region's mythology. They were the original trailblazers, really, setting the stage for the even more famous Asura dynasty that was coming up next. So the Danava line kicked off with a king named Mahiranga Danava and ended with Narakasura. These kings are described as Kiratha chiefs, so they're deeply connected to the land's original inhabitants. And get this, Mahiranga's name is actually thought to be a Sanskrit version of the Boro word Mairang, which shows a direct living link to the Boro people. How cool is that? All right, but it's after the Danavas that our main character just storms onto the scene. We're talking about a king born from the gods who would later become a tyrant feared by everyone, the one and only Narakasura. Narakasura's origin story is, well, nothing short of divine. He was the son of Bhudevi, that's the earth goddess herself, and Varaha, who was an avatar of the great god Vishnu. With a family tree like that, it's no surprise he went on to found the powerful Boma, or Asura dynasty. But here's what's so fascinating about Narakasura. His story is a classic tale of two halves. He starts out with this divine heritage, and he's even credited with building the legendary Kamakya temple. But then, under the influence of another king, Banasura, he takes a seriously dark turn. He becomes this fearsome tyrant whose reign of terror would only end when the god Krishna himself stepped in. And let me tell you, the final battle was absolutely epic. Narakasura's general, a warrior named Mora, was so formidable that after Krishna finally defeated him, Krishna actually got a new title, Murari, which means the killer of Mora. That little detail just shows you the insane scale of this conflict. But the story doesn't end with Narakasura's death, not by a long shot. His son, Bhagadatta, would carry the dynasty's legacy onto the biggest stage in all of Indian mythology, the Great War of the Mahabharata. Now, in this massive war, Bhagadatta had to pick a side. He was tied to the Kauravas because his daughter was married to their prince, Duryodhana, so he joined their cause. And this one decision put him directly in opposition to the Pandavas and their closest ally. Yep, Krishna, the very same god who had defeated his father. Talk about complicated. And Bhagadatta was an absolute force to be reckoned with. From his capital, Pragjyotishpur, which means the city of Eastern astrology, he led a huge army of Karatas and Shinas. He was especially famous for his skill in battle while riding his legendary war elephant, Supratika. Even after Bhagadatta fell in battle, the dynasty's fearsome reputation just kept going. His successor, Vajradatta, was described in the epics in pretty glowing terms, as powerful as Indra, the king of the gods, and as fast as a thunderbolt. The message was loud and clear. This line of warriors was far from finished. But here's the thing that makes these myths so powerful. They aren't just stories in an old book. They are literally etched into the landscape of modern-day Assam. This is where mythology really comes alive, leaving behind physical places you can still go and see today. Remember King Banasura, the guy who was a bad influence on Narakasura? Well, you can find his legacy at a place called Agnigar, the Fortress of Fire. The story goes, he built this fiery fortress not for war, but to imprison his own daughter, Usha, to keep her away from a secret lover. It's this timeless story of forbidden love, literally built into the landscape. And Banasura's legacy wasn't just about family drama. It was spiritual, too. He's believed to have established the magnificent Mahabhairav Temple, a sacred site that still stands today as a powerful reminder of the influence of these ancient Kherida kings. And for our last stop, this one might just give you chills. It's a place called Rudrapada. Here, right on the banks of the mighty Brahmaputra River, it's believed that the god Shiva himself left his footprint on a stone. It's not just a story, it's a physical mark of the divine, a direct, tangible link between that world of myth and our own. So it all leaves us with a final thought. When we look at ancient hills or temples or rivers, maybe we're not just looking at geography. Maybe, just maybe, we're looking at a map, a guide to a forgotten world of myth and legend, just waiting for us to rediscover it. It makes you wonder, how many of those maps are hidden in plain sight all around us?